Okay. Sorry about that, guys. That was I would say an emergency, but was definitely necessary. Okay. So, probably gonna stream for another hour. I do apologize that that was like cut short and like kind of lost like an hour of stream overall. But I've got some planning to do before D&D, and if I didn't go for that, I would have been in a bit of a mess, shall we say. But let's not talk about that. Let's get on with what we were doing. And we were going to go destroy this, I think. So let's go do it. Archer, you know what to do. See if we can get all of our guys up here as quick as we can. There you go. We're getting better at this whole fighting situation. The Crusaders are not the only ones fighting against the Worldwound. After searching the encampment, the soldiers concluded that it was a group of mammoth lords that consisted of the representation of different clans. They wandered too deep into the demon's territory, got ambushed, and made a defensive stand. The demonic plague claimed them one by one. If anyone's played Kingmaker, you will know who the demonic lords, the mammoth lords are. Okay, so that's that. Okay, strengthening diplomatic connections. Let's rank up. And we'll enchant the pin. If we can get all the way to Kenabres without resting, I will. That demon army's getting pretty close, but let's just keep going. These fights are nothing for us, you know? I must admit, I do enjoy these fights, but they dare are offering no challenge now that we've got a good army. A group of renegades who tossed their way Crusaders oath and bent the knee before demons fought furiously till the very end. They knew that there would be no mercy for them. Nearby, the soldiers found a rich gold mine packed with slaves. That's what demons used to buy the loyalty of the former Iomedes warriors. A hole in the ground full of shiny metal. And that's literally all... Wait, what the fuck's that? How the fuck do we get to it? Eh? You know what? Fuck it. Good deal with this demon army. Ah, yes, the demon army of the elements. That has found purchase so many times against us. And that is how you do that. Tactician free. Okay. So I assume that is actually a captured region for us, so let's get to here. Right, we still can't recruit because of restoring order. I will rest before we enter Kenabres. Okay, there's rest over. Get into Kenabres. Oh, how many hours is it? 8 hours. I must admit, it's so nice to look at where we came, like where we began the game. Okay, Camilla, let's do what you need to do. Lady Camilla, welcome home. We have been expecting you. We looked at the servant for a few moments, bemused. You have been expecting me? Indeed, my lady. Lord Gwyrm ordered that you be sent to him as soon as you arrived. The commander is permitted to follow, but I must ask your other companions to wait here. Refreshments will be served. Camilla, what's going on? How curious. Horgus is here and waiting for me, but how could he? Oh. Forgive me for being unable to answer your question, my lady, but those are the precise instructions I received from Lord Gwyrm this morning. Well, do you know this man? I've never set eyes on him before. I took my position here relatively recently. I was hired specifically to serve Lord Gwyrm at his mansion in Kenabres. Why can't my companions come in too? Lord Gwyrm was most specific in his request, and I'm afraid I cannot speak for his reasons. I can only assume that the conversation will be one of the most delicate nature. Please, my friend, let's acquiesce to Horgus' request. I do not wish to make a scene before I fully understand what's going on here. I see you've managed to fully repair the mansion after the demonic invasion. Indeed, we have. Fortunately, the mansion was almost unharmed. Many items survived the attack, and Lord Gwyrm was able to find a comparable replacement for those that didn't. Fine. Where should we look for Horgus? Lord Gwyrm must be somewhere upstairs. He bid me say that Lady Camilla will have no trouble finding him. Please do come in. I stroked her chin pensively. I was not expecting this. I thought the mansion would be empty, picked to the bone by marauders, if it was still standing at all, but seeing it fully restored and inhabited. She narrows her eyes at you. Well, it would be extremely impolite to keep our host waiting, wouldn't it, my friend? Let's go and have a chat with Daddy Dearest.
Let us press on.
Okay, sorry about that. Just had to quickly done. Okay.
March ahead.
We said upstairs, so let's get upstairs. Oh. We can go to the basement. Ooh. Loot's my favorite. Like, give me loot and I'll happily, just, I'll be happy always. As the saying goes, every family has a skeleton in the closet. In my case, all skeletons are hidden in the cellar. Camellia smiles fleetingly at her own joke. This place holds special significance for me because it is where I killed those folks who tried to rob Horgus' mansion. They were caught by the guards and I sacrificed them to Maria. This is where they are buried. I still find it hard to believe that Horgus allowed you to kill people like that. I think he had no choice. He could not cure me of the spirit's influence no matter how hard he tried, nor could he hand me over to the authorities of Kenabres, because then I should have been certainly declared myself to be his illegitimate daughter and revealed all his secrets to the world. And that would have stayed in the glorious name of Horgus Squirm, that my papa values even more than his own life. I suppose he could have killed me and buried me right here in the cellar. She shrugs hesitantly. I have no idea why he didn't do it while I was a little girl and he could overpower me. Nevertheless, I can assure you that all my victims buried here were hardened criminals and thugs. No one shed a tear when they never returned from the Gwyrm mansion that night. So, how many skeletons are buried here? Oh, and there's many as you'd have assumed, just the two, not counting the Varisian. Miss Gaze wonders without stopping on anything particular. It seems she is remembering, reliving all the sacrifice she made here. We have to go.
Our path leads on.
What is the shoes I picked up? What are they? Boots of freest rain. To be fair.
I will guide.
Ooh.
I hope you appreciate this.
Welcome to my room, my friend. With an inscrutable smile, Camilla looks around. I was about to apologize for the mess, but it appears the servants were ordered to clean this room. Well, do you have anything to say about the place where I spent my formative years? There are bars in the window. Camilla turns to the window and looks at them closely, as if seeing them for the first time. Then she shrugs. They were always here. I moved this room immediately after my mother died, and this is where I stayed, leaving it only on rare occasions. I suppose my darling papa was afraid that I would slip out without him knowing. Foolish man. If I'd ever really wanted to escape, no bars in the window could have helped me. Bed looks too big for a child. I never thought about it. This bed was mine from the very beginning, as well as the countless dresses in the closet. Bouquets of flowers on the window still, and the sumptuous meals the servants used to bring me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and any time I wanted in between. I suppose the servants must have been whispering about me in dark corners, trying to understand why this strange girl was living here in the lap of luxury, although I never cared much about the gossip. Besides, Horgus changed servants as often as he changed his gloves, so none of the staff were ever here for very long. There are many books in here. I've always loved reading. Books open entire new worlds to me. I could visit them all without ever leaving my chair. There's a hefty-looking lock on the door. Only Horgus himself and the mansion's head guard had a key to this lock. Even the servants had to call one of them to open the door so they could bring me my lunch. Sometimes I was allowed to leave the room, to take a stroll in the garden, or to attend a fencing class with a specially hired teacher. Sometimes Horgus even took me out to the city when there were festivities, or a trade caravan had arrived, if a trade caravan had arrived from a fiery land. But every time he did, he made me promise that I would keep within 10 paces of him at all times. I promised, as if he could ever stop me. It was like a bird in a cage, a gilded one, but a bird, but still a cage. That's true, but this cage suited me perfectly. Freedom is always romanticized in books and songs. Artists love to glorify it, but most of them live in pure penury. They are beautiful ideals, to be sure, and I would happily read about them after yet another delicious dinner, ensconced in my soft warm bed. Let's keep going.
Godspeed.
We find Horgus in a secret study. Camilla licks her parched lips. Before we enter, I should ask you one question if you don't mind. You know my family's history better than anyone else in the world. Tell me, what do you think of Horgus as a father? He's not the best, but not the worst either. I'm sure he tried his best. That's what you think. Her gaze wanders the room, never resting on anything in particular. Why are you asking? No special reason. She turns to her distracted gaze on you. I just want to know your opinion of my father before you meet him face to face. For 1 second, guys. Well, hello, father. Horgus raises his head and stares vacantly at his daughter for several moments. Then he nods and drains the goblet before him in a single huge gulp. You can smell the sour reek of stale alcohol in the air. Hello, Camilla. So you finally come, and even dragged the commander along. I suspected that you wouldn't come here alone. I know you've been wondering would you finally show your face here. Haven't I always taught you that it's extremely impolite to be late for an appointment? Camilla wrinkles her nose in disgust. Papa, you stink. I believe you'll forgive me this weakness under the circumstance, and if you don't, you can always leave. I won't stop you. The door is right over there. Horgus chuckles bitterly and refills his goblet. Horgus, you were expecting us. This isn't a chance meeting. It was not you I was expecting, although I thought you might put in an appearance. No, I was waiting for Camilla. Some time ago, I received a letter from my beloved daughter in which she invited me to meet here at my mansion in Kenabres. I came as quickly as I could. I've been here for several days now, waiting for my dearest daughter to arrive. Horgus frowns at you, examining your face. You tell me you knew nothing about this meeting. Could it be that my sweet girl has you wrapped around her little finger? That she tricked you into coming here to watch the spectacle unfold? That little minx. He gesticulates wildly, spilling half the contents of his goblet on the floor. What did you do after I left for the Abyss? I left Dresden as soon as the Queen took the hold of the reins of the government. Of course, I highly respect our dear Gallifrey, but it was you I had followed into the crusade, not her. For whatever reason, I do not believe our Queen will succeed in her attempts to defeat the wound, so I moved to Nirasan while my mansion in Kenabres was under renovation. Horgus turns his eyes on Camilla and shrugs, but none of that matters anymore, does it? Camilla, what's going on here? She remains silent. You can't see her face, but you hear her breathing, shallow and fast. Her shoulders are rising and falling jerkily, and her right hand is trembling. Camilla, explain. Camilla jolts slightly and turns to you. Her eyes seem to look right through you. Her lips parted and her rasping breath reminds you of an animal's growl. Her right hand is clutching a thin stiletto. Seems to have come out of nowhere. Isn't it obvious? Horgus stands up heavily from the table and approaches his daughter, stumbling a little. She has finally come to take my life. I've been waiting for this moment since the day it all began. I knew it would come. Of course, I had hoped that Camilla would placate her spirit somehow. Hoped the commander would close the wound at Worldwound and put an end to these sacrifices, but it's too late for that now. I'm ready to die. My whole life is a lie. It doesn't even feel like mine, but someone else's. I did everything I could to ensure that the name of Horgus Gwyrm would go down in history and his bloodline live on. I've had to lie and cover up crimes along the way. Well, the time has come to pay the piper, and if my death helps to uncover the secret of the closing of the Worldwound, well, it's not the worst way to go. Horgus gulps. But before you do what you came to do, Camilla, let me reveal my finest secret to you. Voice sounds alien and unfamiliar. It's hoarse and a low gravel crunching underfoot. Talk. Your mother Iris genuinely loved you, Camilla. Without you sure how you killed that pup in the garden, she started to worry about you. It was she who insisted on the doctors and the psychics and the exorcists. They all examined you, but nothing helped. You kept on killing animals, neighboring cats, stray dogs. You told us stories about the spirits who whispered in your ears. Iris didn't believe you really had a special ability to communicate with the spirit. She didn't think you were gifted, but I did. As if a daughter of Horgus Gwyrm could be no more than a lunatic. Several years passed like that, several very grueling years, for Iris more than myself. And then one night, Horgus swallows the lump in his throat. I entered your room and I saw Iris leaning over your bed with a pillow in her hands. I pushed her away from you. It was dark. Iris stumbled and she hit her head on the corner of her cabinet. I buried her in the garden and planted a flower bed of camellias over her grave. I thank the gods that you remembered nothing of that horrible night. Now you know everything, Camilla. You killed Camilla's mother. Besides, it was an accident, but I was prepared to do it, and I would do the same again if I had to do. The bloodline of Horgus Gwyrm could not be broken. Forgive me, Camilla. Forgive me for keeping you locked away. Forgive me for never acknowledging you as my daughter. Forgive me for depriving you of your mother and never being able to replace her. Now I've said everything. I am ready. You killed my mother, and you decided to tell me that now. Camilla's whisper sounds like a hissing of a venomous snake. Why? To burden your soul? To show me how you protected me back then? Fibbing open, I hesitate before I stab you in your disgusting heart. Or are you trying to make me weep for my mother, the innocent victim? Well, I don't give a damn about her. That bitch wanted me dead and she failed. Good riddance, I say. I don't give a damn about you either, Orcus Squirm. I don't care about your bloodline or about any excuse you can come up with. Do you really think that I couldn't have escaped your mansion if I wanted to? You never acknowledged me as your daughter. 'Twas no skin off my nose. You never wanted to marry a noble woman? See the Squirm line? Well, that was your own affair. You provided me and didn't stop me to communicating with the spirits. I never wanted anything more from you. But now I don't need you anymore. I have Samael who will protect me and hide me from justice if it comes for me. For you were just garbage left over from my former life, and it's time to dispose of you. Letter trembles in Camilla's hand. She grips the handle so tight her knuckles turn white. Camilla, stop. He turns a cold gaze on you. The spirits crave his blood. I crave his blood. Together we sealed his fate. You shouldn't kill him. No matter what he's done, he's still your father. Camilla's hand flies up and freezes in front of Grover's heart. A moment passes, then another. Finally, Camilla exhales loudly and lowers her weapon. Leave. Get out of my life, Horgus Squirm. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Horgus opens his mouth to say something, but immediately shuts it without saying a single word. He lingers for a moment, then nods briefly and leaves. It's all over now. I've rid myself of my past. I suppose I should feel happy. Why do I feel so tired? Camilla gets to her feet and smooths her tousled hair. It was all over too quickly. Don't you agree, my friend? As if something was missing. It's like having sex without climaxing. Then it's naught but exhaustion. Let's have some fun, shall we? Why didn't you tell me that Horgus would be waiting for us in Kenabres? He shrugs, a trifle confused. I just didn't. Perhaps I wanted to surprise you. Perhaps I was worried that you'd try to talk me out of it. So, are you ready to talk to Maria now? No, not quite yet. But don't worry, I should be ready soon. Just one step. One final drop. Did Maria really crave Horgus' blood, or was it you who wanted it? Her gaze sharpens for a moment, but she quickly relaxes. Yes and yes. Maria and I are one. Her desires and my desires. We've become quite inseparable at this point. What did you have in mind? Her voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. I wanted to make up for lost time, to let loose like before, to celebrate my ultimate liberation. There are an awful lot of servants at the mansion. Let's gather all of them on the guard and feed them Maria with blood together, you and I. What do you say? I have never done this with another person before. Until now, you have been the only observer, and I want my first time to be with you, my friend. You're insane. I should have killed you long ago.
The last one for me.
You're not going to be able to hit my AC, bitch. He hit me. He's evil. Fucking knew it.
Do not hold back.
Excruciating.
Fuck you, Camilla. Wait. Do I have the resurrect spell still? No, I got rid of it. Fuck. I was pretty sure I gave myself the... Wait, do I have the... Can I learn resurrect? No, I can't. Damn. Well, Camilla, fuck you. That's what you get what you fucking deserve.
Let us press on.
Feels good to finally be free of her.